So I'm joined here by Paul Puopolo, who is Executive Vice President of Innovation from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, also known as DFW. So Paul, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
If you could first just get me started and tell me about your innovation story to date at DFW.
Well, DFW has always been innovative. It has a great history of being innovative. But about 4 years ago, DFW decided that they wanted to be a little bit more standard in their process for innovation and build an innovation function. And so I joined 4 years ago to build an innovation program. It's been a great 4-year journey. We originally started with what is innovation, how do we define it, so we created a strategy, and from there we said what's our purpose, and it was to create new products and services and take them to market. But we also had a second purpose, which was to drive a culture of innovation. So that was the first thing that we did. Then we created a portfolio, we created a very standardized process, a 7-step process. We built a central innovation team. So I was a team of 1 in the beginning, and now we have a team of 10, and it's a central team. And I'm a big fan of a central team because I think people have to be accountable for innovation. Innovation is a business function like anything else. And then lastly, we have metrics now to measure our innovation process and how well we're doing. So we've gone a long way from, creating a strategy and defining it all the way to building out a process, our portfolio, our team, and now the metrics to show that what kind of return are we getting on innovation.
I'm imagining that when anyone joins your team, they have like a 7 steps to innovation, like you just mentioned.
They do. People think that innovation is just ideation, but we have a very specific process with specific deliverables under each and steps that we have to take to make sure that we look at an idea and vet that idea.
That's really interesting. Now, how does DFW think about the short and long term when it comes to strategy and innovation?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's always a challenge with any company, with any organization about managing the operational challenges of today, but also keeping an eye out on the future, which is usually unpredictable. And usually the operational challenges of today always outweigh what might happen in the future. So our corporate strategy is a 3-year corporate strategy. It's been good for us to kind of be a little bit more short term. And then the innovation strategy is tied to the corporate strategy. So anything that we do is tied to that strategy. And part of the innovation process is that we run a portfolio, much like a financial portfolio. We have things that we do with the core business, things that are adjacent, and then things that are longer term, which we call the revolutionary innovation, or you might have heard Horizon 1, Horizon 2, Horizon 3. We do a lot with the business to help improve and create differentiation in the market. But we also spend time thinking about the things that are 3 to 5 to 7 years out. And that's what my team does. And then we have a governance council of executives that help us prioritize that. What should the balance be? Should we spend more time with the core business or less? And I think it's real important that you do that because that's what keeps the future in mind when you have people committed to it and resources committed to thinking about those things that might be further out, because the core business is always going to be managing today. And especially in an operational environment, they have so many things going on. So we found a good way to balance that using the portfolio approach.
And what is the most interesting challenge you're working on at the moment?
There's so many challenges today operationally in a good way. But I would say the biggest challenge for us would be, I would say autonomy. And when I say autonomy, I mean movement of people and things across the airport. Whether it's passenger boarding bridges that need to be automated, whether it's autonomous vehicles moving people around, or whether it's autonomous vehicles moving cargo, or even eVTOL that we've all heard, that's also could be autonomous. I think autonomy has created a lot of questions for us on how do we do it, how do we support it. There's security involved, there's things like how are we going to charge these things, how are we going to keep up with it, how are we going to make customers feel good about the autonomy, how do we change our operational processes and procedures when it comes to autonomy. So I think autonomy has forced us to, we created ultimately a roadmap to autonomy because we had so many individual projects and we had to have a system-wide approach to it. And I think there's a lot of benefits to autonomy, but it's caused a lot of challenges on how you execute on autonomy when you're in the airport as well.
How do you foster a culture of innovation and function within the team?
Yeah, we took a very specific approach to innovation when I got here 4 years ago, and we purposely left culture off the first 2 years because we wanted to build the process and the team and actually get some quick wins. And then over the last 18 months, we really focused on culture.
We're not going to leave that out.
And that has been everything from we've created training for all employees, mindset training, and all the employees took mindset training. We then moved into boot camps, and we created a 3-day boot camp for those who wanted to be a little bit more experienced in innovation and how they do innovation. So we did that. We created Wisdom Wednesdays, we call it, which is once a month. It's a tech overview, like a TED Talk, where we share that at lunch with everybody. We usually get about 150 people to kind of join online to see the latest and greatest. And then most recently, we created an innovation toolkit that we rolled out for everybody to help the innovators in the departments use the standardized process and the tools that we use so that they can build on their innovation muscle. And then this year, coming up in October, we're going to be testing an ambassador program, which is an innovation ambassador program where somebody from the business unit is our key contact and we work with them directly as a center of excellence. And then we're going to be trying a rotational program where businesses can send a representative to work with us for 18 months and we're doing a business rotation. So we run the gamut from basic education around innovation to boot camps and training to now hopefully a rotation program. And that's all our culture.
Really selling it to me. I want to come and work in your team.
Come on, we're hiring.
I mean, when you say you're doing kind of business outreaches, what kind of businesses do you mean that will come and work with you?
So we have a lot of different partners. So we have government partners, as you know, TSA, CBP, we work with them regularly. We have our airline partners, American Airlines, who we meet regularly with, talk through their priorities and our priorities for, let's just say, the passenger travel. And then we have a lot of good technology partners. We're working with Willow, who's our part of the digital twin for the airport, and we'll be a little bit more proactive and resilient. We do that through a digital twin. We work with technology partners on biometrics. We have some interesting conversations with partners locally, such as universities. So we use universities across Texas and across our area to help us with design thinking, logistics, and things like that. So innovation takes an ecosystem to make it work. And last year we spent a lot of time building out that ecosystem. And that includes technology providers and our partners, and then obviously our university partners.
Do you have a lot of people from the universities coming in to working with you?
That's the idea.
Yeah.
That's it. And actually we have a great story where we worked with one of the universities, TCU, Texas Christian University, in Fort Worth, and we worked with them on a project for their semester for their MBA students. And one of those MBA students is now working on the innovation team. So we do believe that working with universities, you can convince, or at least work with, the younger folks that, hey, the airport is doing some interesting things. And the airport has significant challenges. And we're heavily invested in tech. And I don't think a lot of people know that. So it's good when we do these projects that people get exposed to the airport business and the airport industry. And it's a great way for us to do it.
Do you find that it's a hard sell these days to the younger generation?
No, I think once they understand what we do, I mean, we're always going to be, it's hard to compete with the Amazons and the Googles and all those folks. But I think when people understand the challenge of travel, they can relate to the challenge of travel or the things that we want to do. And I think when they see the magnitude of what we do and the breadth of everything, we're a small city. And everything that happens in the city happens at the airport. And when they see that, I think it's a great challenge for them. And so we hope that people will come in and see it in a different way. But we need the new talent. We need tech savvy, younger folks. I hate to say younger folks, but people who come in who have a different perspective because they're travelers too, and we need to understand how they make it work.
And how are you working with your sustainability department? Because I understand they quite often work hand in hand.
Right. We have a great relationship with our sustainability department. They're the EAD, Environmental Affairs Division. We were, I think, one of the first large airports to be carbon neutral, and our EAD team has a very big goal for us. We're going to be net zero in 8 years, so by 2030 we're going to be net zero. And they have a very specific roadmap to get us there. And that requires everybody in the organization to work on how we can accomplish net zero. And so what we're working with them on specifically is we work with them on waste management. When we talk about biodegradables and processes that we can be better at as an airport, and how do we defer, I hate to say things go to landfill, how do we defer that, how do we do better at that? So there's a lot of programs that are going on at the airport in that respect. Where we spend a lot of our time recently is in the electrification process. Because of autonomy and because of the impact of congestion and vehicles, we know that EVs are coming, and we have to have an understanding of how we're going to charge all these vehicles, not only our fleet vehicles, but also personal vehicles that people have. And that's not a small task. So we've been working with them on electrification and our roadmap to electrification, how is your equipment support that. And then lastly, we work with them on IoT, which is getting the data from the sensors in the airport to be a little bit more proactive in the way we manage the environment of the airport, whether it's the temperature or the condition of the air, whether it's the HVAC systems, getting all that IoT and sensor data back into our digital twin so that we can make better decisions. That's all been part of it. So there's a lot going on, but they have a great roadmap, and we try to help them along the way.
I'm interested to know, obviously, you're competing with airports in your area for passengers. Do you ever collaborate with other airports and knowledge share and problem solve together?
Oh, absolutely. We have a friendly competition where we're always keeping our eye out on our fellow airport folks. But I meet regularly. Once a month, we have an airport innovation forum, which encompasses airports from all over the world. And we meet and we talk about problems, we talk about technology, we try to understand what people have done already so that we can leverage what they've already done. We're also part of industry partnerships such as ACI and AAA, which have innovation groups, and so that's more of a US-based group. And we talk about problems, technology, partnerships, how we can leverage what somebody else has done. And then locally, we have connections with the Dallas Innovation Alliance or the North Texas Innovation Alliance. Those groups help us think about smart cities, and we partner more with the cities because if they're going after a security or a lighting or something that would impact the city or a parking solution, we have those same challenges. Yeah. So we do talk to a lot of folks, and we definitely speak to our airport partners. And I think friendly competition is fun. It keeps us moving.
Exactly. And do you work with any startups, and are there any in particular you want to give a shout out to?
Well, we love the startup community. We haven't directly worked with startups. I think for us, the size of our airport and what we need to do forces us to kind of focus on companies that are a little bit more ready in the growth area, or they have a technology and they want to explore the airport industry versus a startup that's right out of the gate.
Yeah.
I think it's really tough for a startup to work within our environment. But we have partners who can work with them and position them for us. So we have access to startups. But I think we're really focused on those companies that really want to explore the airport business or have something that they want to test, but they're more in a growth mode.
Yeah.
So for example, Willow is a digital twin. They're exceptional with them. The indoor labs is a wide on. So we have these companies that already have something and they're trying to explore our industry, and that seems to work best for us.
And what is the next big thing in air travel, in your opinion?
It's a great question. I think it's all about eVTOL, right? So it's all about these new vehicles that come to the airport and change the way people move. And I feel that's right. I think that's going to be very disruptive. Assuming that everything is safe and assuming it passes all the certifications, it will change the way people travel. And so I think the short haul travel, less than 500 miles, I think that could be really revolutionary, which is exciting. The challenge we have is the infrastructure side. How do we support that? What's the interspace going to be? How are we going to be doing that? How are we going to charge these things at a pace that can sustain business operation? And then the financial model, how is the finances going to work? And what's the consumer behavior going to be? So I think it's going to be great, and I think it's going to be really interesting, but there's a lot of things that we have to figure out. There's a lot of players that have to work through this, but that's what revolutionary innovation is. But it will only be disruptive if it can really serve the mass market.
Do you think DFW has plans to get involved with this?
We do. We do. We've gone through our strategy. We've gone through our approach. We have a good plan on what do we want to, let's say, make a small bet on over the next 3 years, because we think that 2024, 2025 we might see one of these vehicles. So what can we do now in the next 3 years to prepare and take some managed risk? But then be thinking about 8 years down the road, if that market takes off, how to be prepared to scale. So we always think about things that's being prepared to scale. And we have some plans over the next 3 years on how we can just put our foot in the water and try to lead in our DFW market.
I look forward to seeing some developments on that front then. Now, are there any long-term pain points that you think will come onto your innovation desk in the future?
It's really up to the business. I think we still have to work through the process. I think the biggest pain points that we'll continue to see is, as you all know, is going through, arriving at the airport and getting through security, getting to your gate. I think there's a lot more we can do there. I think that's a pain point that we're going to have to continue to work with our partners, TSA and the airlines on. Biometrics is here, but we haven't seen a lot. We haven't seen a lot of uptake from passengers on that, and we've got to figure out how to de-densify that checkpoint to make that experience a lot smoother and put the passengers in control of it a little more. I think that's something that we're going to continue to have to focus on. It's a big pain point, and we know it, but there's technology that we know that we can apply and fix that. We just have to have it together.
Well, I can say from someone who's transferred through your airport that that process is quite quick. I made use of your Skylink, and the TSA security was very seamless as well. I didn't have to remove my liquids, I think it was, or my laptop, can't remember which. But yeah, it was a great experience for me.
Yeah, part of the benefit we have is that we have 15 checkpoints, so it helps us spread out the traffic. So at each checkpoint, we have very low wait times. But it's also the customer understanding what do they need to do when they get up to that checkpoint and how do we facilitate that. And that's all about technology, and that's also working with TSA to make sure that we're following the process.
Final question for you then, Paul, is are you positive for the future, and what are you most looking forward to?
Oh, I am. Travel's exciting, and the future of aviation is exciting. And the fact that people want to get out and travel is a great thing, and that's all about connecting people. So it's a great mission that we have. I think the most exciting thing that I see coming, the things that we should be thinking about, is digital transformation. The reason I say digital transformation is because everybody defines it differently. And I think it's important the Air Force define what digital transformation means for them. Technology is embedded so much into our lives, and because the customers will always have a higher expectation of speed, personalization, relevance, that we have such an opportunity to leverage the possibilities of technology to build resiliency as an airport, to create efficiencies, to create a better experience, and also new revenue opportunities. And I think digital transformation is the biggest thing I'm looking forward to.
Another question then, where are you on your digital transformation journey?
It's a great question. We kicked off our digital strategy 2 years ago, and we built our roadmap and our strategy. We've gone through with the business and created their roadmaps on what they want to transform digitally, and now IT has built in a technology roadmap that coincides with that, because with digital transformation, it's all about technology integrating across the enterprise, and so we're putting investments into tech to make sure we're meeting the needs across the organization, and we've done that. And so I would say we are well on our way, but we know, like you said, it's a journey. It's not one project, it's not one team, it's an entire organization moving in a certain direction, and we've laid the groundwork for that. So over the next couple of years, we're going to see how we meet our 2 and 3 year timeline.
Also, you can say you're maybe 50% of the way there, but in a couple of years, the goalpost will move.
It's going to keep moving, because digital transformation never stops.
Yeah.
Once you get it set and new technology comes in, because the pace of technology is extremely fast, you're going to have to be able to be ready to handle the new technology, which goes back to culture. We need to make sure we build a culture that's nimble, agile, collaborative, and tech savvy in order to keep up.
Just to build upon your point that you made earlier about the joy of travel, I was lucky enough to be sitting next to someone on my flight here who was inordinately excited about us taking off. So I just said to her, you're very excited about taking off. I've never seen someone so excited. And she said to me that it was her first time ever on a flight.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so for me it was great to be sitting next to someone and seeing that joy and that excitement.
I think when those of us who fly a lot or travel a lot, we tend to forget the feat that happens every time a plane takes off with 200 people. I think we just take that for granted, and it is it's amazing technology, it's amazing event that happens, and sometimes we forget because we're so used to it. But it's great. It's always great to see new people who are getting ready out there to travel. It's great to see travels.
Exactly, just replicating that travel experience for everyone as if they were a first-time flyer.
That's right.
Cool, well, thank you so much for the conversation, and lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you, thank you.